think having the right people with the right guidance makes these things very feasible. I remember when I was going through this process, it's very daunting, and you only need the right opportunity to score the right chance to score that dream that you've been fighting for.
Even if you don't have a relative in the US, or if you don't have a senior from your med school or anything like that, go out there. Quite important to get in touch with residents on LinkedIn. Of course, the faculty or their website, the profile would not show.
4 interviews towards the end, and I matched in my first preference.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on your time zone. And heartfelt congratulations to all our recently matched students. And they have achieved something which is absolutely extraordinary. And we are very, very proud of their hard work, resilience, determination. And for those of you who are joining as applicants who will go into the match next season, and probably maybe even your families, I would say that you've taken the first step towards this journey, and hopefully the session will be inspiring and motivating to you. You will hear from a lot of our math students today and tomorrow. And while their journey has not been very easy, it'll come with their own share of challenges, which I think they'll share today, setbacks that they faced, moments of doubt. But it's worth it. It's a journey of growth, perseverance, and ultimate triumph. All these students were in your shoes till last Sunday, facing doubts about their scores, attempts, year of graduation, visa challenges, a lot of them. And yet they've overcome the odds with the right guidance, a clear path, and persistence. So as we celebrate their success, they are also willing to give back to the community. And this is what I appreciate about all our students and our panelists. Dr. Waly is here today. The commitment to give back to the IMG community is something that we are all very proud of. And our mission at Sarthi has always been very simple. How do you support and empower IMGs on their journey to residency with, some advice, guidance, honest information. So the idea here is, while today the event is all about the inspiration, you don't have to walk this path alone. Okay. So just as we kick off, let's dive in here from the students who have done it this year. But before we start, I do want to give it to Dr. Yousef Waly, who's been a great panelist for us. And he's been helping IMG students, Sarthi students, for over a year now. And he wanted to share some insights, tips, guidance. So welcome, Dr. Waly, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Pawan. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are. I wanted to start off by, congratulating everyone. Excellent job. This is pretty much the culmination of your time, effort, and sacrifice over not just, a couple months, but years. Everyone knows that this journey is, very taxing mentally, financially, physically. This whole journey is very stressful. And a lot of people are doing this while tackling, part-time jobs, medical school. It's a very, very stressful process to go through. But, this process is very, very feasible with the right support, with the right mentality, with the right perseverance. A lot of the match applicants from the Sarthi team, a lot of match applicants around the world persevered and had a dream, fought for their dream, and ultimately, congratulations to them all, have achieved this dream. And I remember when I was going through this process, it's very daunting. And if you don't have the right support network, the right people to back you, to advise you, then it can be very, very difficult. But with the right support, with the right guidance, it becomes very seamless, very easy, and it becomes almost cruise control. Yes, it's not easy, but the process becomes smoothened with the right people on your team. I've been working with mentees for almost a year now, and the profiles are very, very diverse. I have people with very long, years of graduation. You're talking 10, 15 years even that I've worked with who thought it wasn't feasible. I've worked with students who had very low scores. We're talking about scores that some people would give up their dreams about, but also were able to achieve their dreams. I think having the right people with the right guidance makes these things very feasible, and you only need the right opportunity to score the right chance to score that dream that you've been fighting for a very, very long time. A lot of people would attribute mashing to luck. And I would say that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, and opportunity is always abundant. And the Sarthi team makes sure that we always have the necessary opportunities you need to thrive and excel and to become an optimal ideal applicant. And a lot of it will also have to come down to you. How much do you want this dream? It will be very daunting. It will be very stressful. But whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And I wanted to again, say that yes, the Sarthi team and myself and the other mentors have been there readily trying to support you at all processes of this journey, whether it is, interview preparation, personal statement preparation, and application formation, making sure that your application is ideal and holistic, but also to make sure that we can help you during the most daunting times of your life, perhaps. And I wanted to make sure that you guys understand that we are readily available to support you whenever. And, congratulations to you all. And for all those who are embarking on this journey and want to fight for their dream, then know that we want to help you and want to see you thrive and succeed moving forward. So congratulations to you all. And I wish you all the best with your upcoming years in residency.
Thank you, Dr. Waly. Appreciate your guidance, and he's been one of the most fantastic mentors. Always available to his students, helping them out. So, if you need help, let me know, and we'll connect you to him. All right, let's move on as we get our participants, our wonderful math students. So, before we get started, some of the housekeeping issues. You can ask questions in the chat. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. And, either the panelists, our math students, they will answer, or I'll take up these questions. So we will answer all the questions. But, just have patience, because when speakers are speaking, when panelists are sharing, they may not be looking at the chat window. We will continue this tomorrow. We will have at the same time, same link, more of the Math Sarthi students, because there are many who wanted to share their journey, and I appreciate that. Also wanted to introduce Aditi and Marina from our team. For those of you who don't know them, Aditi runs our match plan. So anything to do with your gold, platinum, bronze, anything to do with the match plan, once you enroll, it is Aditi. So Aditi, maybe you can put in your email in the chat. And Marina runs our rotations and research. So after you enroll in rotations and research, it's going to be Marina and her team. So maybe you want to say a couple of words, Aditi, and then Marina.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are very thankful for all of you to join us today. So we all want you to please stay tuned till the end, because we have a lot of math students here who are sharing their valuable insights and their journeys. So please listen to them. It's so important for you. And thank you so much for any match related queries. I'm always here. So you can put your queries in the chat box. So we are here to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you. Marina?
Everyone, thank you for joining today. Stay tuned with us, and we'll be answering all your questions. And our panelists are there, so just listen to them, and we are happy to hear from you. Thank you.
One last thing before, I know you are waiting for our panelists. So one last thing, this year we are felicitating all our students, and I will be traveling to India, and maybe we'll have an event in the US. Take a look at this. So this is scan this code. You can register for our events in India. I think we are going to be there in 5 locations. So for those of you who are in India, logging in from India, you'll meet our match students in a very relaxed atmosphere in various cities in India when we recognize them and honor them for their achievement. So this is the code. So scan this code, and Sneha or Aditi, if you can also put the link to the registration link. It's all free. We are not charging anything. We don't charge anything for these events, as you know. So why not take an opportunity to, meet our team and meet our students as we honor them in May. So it'll be early May. All right, with that, let us get started. It is my pleasure to welcome our first speaker, which is on your screen, Dr. Mathew.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khera, and the rest of the USMLE Sarthi team. For the people who are joining us today, I was in your shoes around this time last year. I had tried and applied in that cycle, had not matched, did not get any soap offers either. Now, before all this, about 6 months prior, I had seen Sarthi, I had reached out and they said, well, maybe we should reevaluate this in a few months' time. Okay, few months went and passed, and then I got the results that I had no interviews and no soap, invitations. So I said, okay, let me look into Sarthi because I see that they're having a lot of success with students being able to match. And especially for those students who are in not the best position. So I reached out to Mr. Khera and he said, okay, let's get you set up. Go take a look through the plan, see what you want to do. Now, so that everybody is clear, I went with the platinum plan. What really drew me was the fact that you have the mentorship, the suggestions and feedback that come from this service. That was the biggest game changer for me because I went from having no interviews to at least getting, 6 interviews. I was blessed with this season. Then I was able to, put my best foot forward, and the end result was that I matched. So I think that was probably the key, was signing up, paying attention. They give you the recipe, you have to put it all together and make the dish. So that would be what I would say or lead with. So if anybody wants to ask any particular questions, you can go ahead and ask those.
So, Mathew, some of the major challenges that you faced in your journey, and some of those things, if you want to share, how you overcame.
Yeah, so the first and foremost, obviously, years out from graduation. Beyond 5 years from graduation, it's very hard for anyone to have their CV looked at. I was well beyond that 5 years. My YOG was at between 12 and 13 years. The next was that I had the red flags because I had low step scores, but also multiple attempts. So it's kind of like, this is very much an uphill battle. What do you do? So this is where USMLE Sarthi made a very big difference because they tell you, okay, yeah, you have these red flags, you have these issues that are always going to come up. So how do we get past that? And that's where they're key to help you navigate in this process.
So just to be clear, you had an old YOG and you had multiple attempts, but with perseverance, you actually managed a match. This is fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. And I am so thrilled and excited. And I can tell that, there's going to be a lot of other people in this position that have also had great success. But it's because you have to put in the work and pay attention to what is being taught and said, especially with this program that USMLE Sarthi gives.
So people are asking, what is your specialty? Where, you don't have to name the hospital, but which specialty did you match it?
So I matched into family medicine. And from the beginning, that was the only specialty that I wanted. It's because I craved certain aspects of family medicine, and I wanted to make sure that that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life.
Thank you, Matthew. Another question for you. Do you
Sure.
think home country residency is necessary for an old graduate? Well, you don't have it.
So not necessary, but I do see that it does help because you're not having a gap. So
Yes. So I think
I've met many others, yeah.
the challenge is how do you, even as an old graduate, continue the clinical experience? The gaps are a big red flag. So as long as you can continue clinical work, I think that will help a lot, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So in my situation in particular, once certain exams were cleared, I actually ended up working in clinical research at a very well-reputable institution. And through that research work, I was actually able to get my name on 4 or so publications that were in major medical journals. So that did help. Then the next one, of course, as everybody knows, you must have this. It is US clinical experience. And that is the hands-on US clinical experience. You need to be able to list, okay, I've been here, I've done this, I've worked with, such and such EMRs. Otherwise, people won't even look at you.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Matthew. Enjoy the match. This is a great achievement. And thank you again for coming here and sharing tips with the students. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Okay, before we go on to our next speaker, Myla, I did want to, announce and make sure, so yes, Sarthi does help with hands-on experiences. So Marina, maybe you can post the link to our rotations website. So take a look. And also, as Matthew mentioned on the research course, so Marina, if you can post the link to the IRR and Dr. Weissman's research courses. Those are fantastic opportunities for those of you who are interested. So take a look. And, if you have questions, then, on these courses, we can definitely take it up. And question on how long should the USEE be? I think a minimum 3 months, but it all depends on your profile, right? So profile matters for older YOGs. The more USEE you get, the better it is. So with that, take a look at the links that Marina has just shared on research, and Marina maybe on rotations also you can share. Next up is our student Myla. Again, a very old graduate, but very hardworking, very committed students. And Myla, welcome. I wanted to congratulate you as well. I mean, this has been a long journey. I think you are 20 plus YOG, and you've done rotations as well. So why don't you introduce yourself and talk a bit about challenges you faced and how you overcame those?
Thank you, Sir Pawan. Thank you so much for everything as well, Sir Pawan, and congratulations. You are able to mentor again a lot of the students that's able to successfully match. So my name is Myla. I'm originally from the Philippines. I am 23 years from my year of graduation. So there is an old IMG. I'm super old IMG, and I have multiple attempts with the step one. I finished. I completed my ECFMG 2013, and I did not had any when I tried before at that around that year. I did not have any interviews, so I stopped for a while. And then 2019, I went back and did my step three. And my step three, I barely passed. So it's like my step one was to I have attempts in step one. I have 219 after that, 235 for step three, for step two, and step two CS. I did it for the first time, but my step three was barely passed. So I was going around the bush, and to the point that I did attempt match several times, too many to count. Too many to count for real. And I stopped because I was just frustrated. But something happened to me, like personally 2019, that I said I have to go back. And I was searching for everything. I was going to different groups. I was all over YouTube, like checking what's going on. And my first taste of Sarthi was when I joined research. After step 3, I said, okay, you know what, this I have to do research because at least I have something new going on. And I did this step 3. I mean, the research, and I was able to publish it with the group. And so that's actually a good additional in my resume. But then it's still, I was all over the place. And finally, last year, and this similar, actually, the 2024 match is success stories of Sarthi. I joined and I watched the story of Dr. Somu. I forgot the last name, doctor. I forgot his last. Yes, and his YOG was actually 22, I think. So I said, you know what, we're very similar. So I was so excited. I got in touch with him. I emailed him in LinkedIn, and he was so nice. He encouraged me, said, don't give up, don't give up. And that's when I went back. I did schedule an appointment with Sir Pawan, and the first thing that really Sir Pawan told me is like, Myla, it is possible, but it will be difficult. It's possible, but you have to work for it. And I said, I am willing to work for it. So I was all into it. And the thing is that I've been working in the US for 11 years, and in a traumatic brain clinic, and so I have a lot of responsibilities. But this time I said I owe it to the dream that God placed into my heart to give it all. And as Mathew was saying, Sarthi has everything. And it's like a one-stop shop for everything. Like I was really, really amazed, like how as well, like the Sarthi is able to match me. Because when on my like in the personal statement, when it's for the time for the physician review, they're able to match me to Dr. Somu. So it was like amazing. And I said, Doctor, do you remember me? I emailed you before. And he said, like, oh my goodness. So it was such an amazing thing, that they're really, really able to match you and able to like look at your profile individually and help you individually. And I think that's one thing that we need, is like we need someone who know what's how the game is played, and assist you and guide you how to do it. Is it a hard work? Really a hard work. Like I have to go to I live in New York. I take 2 months leave from work. I went to Yonkers for 1 month. I went to Chicago for 1 month with my family with me. Like you have to do it. Like the question for us is that, are you willing to really put on the work? Because if you are willing to put on the work, they are willing to guide us. They already know how to do it. But we are the question I have as well, like friends that I met along the way, is Sarti student. They did not get any interviews. They were not much. But I saw one of my classmates, actually, I haven't gotten in touch with her. She matched as well. She's with me in Chicago during the rotation, and she matched as well. And she's younger than me, but she's also an old IMG, and we're able to match. So
well, thank you, Myla. So again, first question people are asking, what specialty did you match in?
family medicine, sir.
Yes. So I should tell everyone, and probably this is, something, if you have 10 plus, 15 plus YOG, family medicine is more receptive to you. It does not mean you cannot match in any other specialty, but family medicine takes a holistic view. They are very forgiving on the YOG. They look at the work you have done in the community, outpatient clinic, and preventive care and all that. So if you are 15, 20 plus year YOG, family medicine by default a choice. I'm not saying that is the only one. Can you also talk a bit about your US clinical experience? Because I think you did a couple with us. So how was that experience?
The one in Yonkers is really amazing, doctor. The doctor is amazing, and I learned so much of the processes. medical records, EMR, and things like that. And also, well, in what I like in Chicago, my rotation in Chicago is that we were able to get experience in the hospital, and that really helped me actually during the interview, because of course I'm an old IMG, and they say, how can you catch up with all of the youngest residents? And I said, like, I was able to have an experience in the hospital in Chicago. And also, like, it's what I like about my preparation with Sarti is that I really like the interview is very important, and the videos that I watch, the interaction with the mentors is very very important, and everything that Sir the way Sir Pawan, like you told me before, Myla, from now on you have to be thinking for 12 hours a day, and that actually I used during my interview. I used that, and then the program director was asking me, like, of course, like, I'm older than the other residents, and I said, well, my mentor told me that I have from this time. I said, and I started early. I said, I early last year. I started early, and he taught me that I have to be like thinking, and your mind should be sharp, like for 12 hours at least a day, and that I use everything during the interview.
Thank you, Myla. I appreciate it. And again, congratulations
Thank you.
on your match. Really, really very happy for you. You've been just outstanding, and I think you deserve it. So,
Thank you,
congratulations
sir.
again.
Thank you
And
so much from my family, sir. Thank you so much. They're very happy. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's move on. As we get to our next speaker, Dr. Mayank Kamani, there are a couple of things I want to answer. So the first is, interview questions. So if you go to our website, www.usmlesarthi.com, there is a section there, and maybe I can show you, which has student resources. Under student resources, there are blogs. So let me see if I can share, because we have a lot of free resources. You can see my screen here, and on sarthi.com under student resources, there is something called blog. So if you go to this blog, it is divided into various sections, so you can see interview preparation also. We will obviously keep adding to it. There is another tool I want you to be aware of. This is ai.usmlesarthi.com. We have just launched it a week ago, so we are adding data to it, adding a lot of tips to it. So it is all AI driven. You can probably start here. It's all free. So start in this AI tool as well. It will answer questions. It does not have interview preparation yet. So, all about how to get ready for rotations, visa, it had about SOAP. So a lot of things we are adding to our free resources also. So this is the AI tool. And obviously we have a YouTube channel, Instagram. So Sneha or Aditi, if you can, just put a link to our YouTube channel, Instagram subscription. And remember, like I said, we will see you in India in May. So, just register for that as well. With that, let's move on. And our next speaker is ready, and Dr. Mayank. Well, welcome, Mayank. Congratulations again. And why don't you talk a bit about which specialty you matched in, importance of networking, and other things that you want to talk about?
Thank you so much, Mr. Pawan. And hello, everyone. My name is Mayank. I was graduate from Tbilisi, Georgia back in 2023. And this was my second match cycle. And I matched into family medicine with 10 interviews this season. And previous season compared to this season, the things which really changed in my application was more focused toward family medicine, because I just focused on one specialty and how can I build my experiences networking towards one specialty. So after my previous season, I got unmatched, and I had a meeting with Dr. Pawan, and where I talked about what can I do to improve my further application. And there he mentioned about doing step 3 as early as possible and trying to do more family medicine rotations, which really helped me not only in getting good LORs, but also making some networks and connections with residency programs. And other exciting part which really happened to me was when I visited National Conference of Family Medicine in August, which happens every year. I just talked and focused on the programs which were really close to my eligibility criteria of that program. And out of those 20 to 30 programs which I talked with the residents, program director, as well as faculties, from there I got at least 5 interviews this season, and that really helped me to improve my chances. So I believe when we have a mentor like a USMLE Sarthi, it not only helps us to get things done, but they prepare us well in advance so that we know what we have to do for this particular month from March to September, and how we can prepare everything on time, and that's how we can secure more interviews.
Okay. So Mayank, any specific challenges that you faced during the season?
So for the first cycle, when I got just 3 interviews, but the thing which happened really surprising to me was I got 3 interviews during my swap cycle, and that was quite surprising for me. But the weakness and the challenging part for me was my interview performance, because I was not really good at it. I was quite nervous as well as anxious during those interviews, and really it didn't come out as a match outcome in the first cycle. So in the subsequent cycle, I tried to improve my English. I did join various online courses where I can really improve my interview skills. And in particularly, the Sarthi question and answer format helped me to prepare the examples, because every time we see the patients, but we try to ignore that, it could not be that useful. But when we do rotations, we do know, like, we have to prepare some answers for particular patients, whether it is difficult patient or a challenging situation. So those kind of situation I try to highlight during my rotations. I made detailed notes of each and every case I used to see, and that really helped me during my interview preparation. So that's really crucial part, because even getting more interviews is not enough. We have to perform really well throughout this season for whatever interview we present.
Thank you very much, Mayank. Thank you. Appreciate your time sharing your trips, and congratulations. Fantastic match. I mean, despite all these obstacles and hindrances, you made it. So very proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we move on, so please address all questions to everyone, not to host and panelists. And I think a couple of you are still asking the link to the AI tool. So Aditi, maybe you post it to everyone, the AI tool link, ai.usmlesarthi.com. Also the link to our upcoming conferences in India. I think some people have been asking that. One question, again, please ask the questions to everyone, not only to host and panelists, but I will answer it. Challenges during interview, getting questions you have not prepared for. And someone asked, how can old IMGs go unmatched despite having USCE? So the challenge with the old YOGs is a couple of things, right? USCE, one, don't go by the minimum USCE. Minimum 3 months is only for recent graduates. So the more work experience you can show, more clinical experience you can show, that helps. The other is, when it comes to older YOGs, they really want that level of maturity to see that you're actually trainable and coachable, because your attendings may be even younger than you, right? Then the other thing is mentorship. Can you actually mentor, share your experience with others if we make you an offer or if we match you? So older YOGs have a very, very different interview experience and the different journey. And that's what, we try to help them with, like Myla said or Mayank said. So matching old YOG is a different strategy than matching a recent YOG with the 250. So Mayank, maybe one question. Was there any interview question that made you lose confidence? Was it any unexpected question you faced during the interview?
Yeah, it happens a lot, particularly when they ask behavioral questions, which was out of somewhere, and you don't even know. They can ask these things also, but being honest is quite difficult, and also how to balance the honesty as well as try to be more genuine at the same time, which I learned from these interview classes. So when we practice these kind of questions with our mentors, they help us to find the proper balance, how to answer these difficult questions, and being confident, how to maintain the proper body language and eye contact throughout the interview is really crucial. And adding little bit of humor, even during the difficult question, make the situation very light. So that was really good experience, even though when we have such difficult questions.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayank. Appreciate your time. All right. As we move on, I know a lot of you are asking questions about your profile. I see that in the chat. If I'm not able to get to those, and if you are applying this season, I am putting my phone number here, WhatsApp. So you can, Sejal, maybe just give them my WhatsApp. Put in your full name, your email, your year of graduation, scores, and I will try to get back to you before Monday. Okay, I'll set up time with you. I'll do it. Otherwise, set up a profile review. But Sejal, if you can just give them, post my phone number in the chat box as well. Okay, let's move on. Our next speaker, I think, is Dr. Akhil.
Yes, hi. My name is Akhil, and I'm originally from Indonesia. I would like to thank all the Sarthi team for helping me to reach my goal. And first of all, when I was planning to come to US for like residency, I heard a lot of negative beliefs that it's impossible for me to go there. And then with help of my friend, he actually like told me that USMLE is very possible. And then I set step one and step two. And then after finishing step one and step two, I contacted the USMLE Sarthi team for rotations. And they actually hooked me up with very good rotations. And one of the rotations is in New Jersey with Dr. Atut and Dr. Weissman. I really learned a lot with the transitional year program director, and so much about mindset and how to face the interviews and how to face the match. There are so many practical tips. And after that, I was very happy with all this, and then I joined the goal plan, and I spoke with Pawan, and Pawan told me that I have good chances to match because my profile is good, and my score is in the 250 range. So I decided to apply for internal medicine, and I followed all the advice from the goal plan. Like first of all, the most important advice was from the personal statement. I made my own personal statement draft, and it was edited like 3 times or 4 times by the editor and also by the physician. And also regarding my ERA CV, they also helped me a lot in like brushing up and also in showcasing my skills and also like polishing the words which are needed to be shown in the CV. And also when I was applying in the ERAS, the list was very important, like the list of the programs, which was filtered by the year of graduation, also by the scores, and also by other factors. That list really helped me in like where to apply and where not to apply, and it also saved time and also saved like money. And then while applying, I was very anxious, especially during interview, because I'm not really a good public speaker. And then I joined some of the interview classes and I got support. And also there was like one-on-one interviews with like few of the mentors. They actually gave me good feedback and I learned so much and on how to improve my interview skills and like what clothes to wear and like how the eye contact should be, and how and all the technical details. So that was very specific, which I really like. And while I was waiting for the match results, I was very anxious, and then I spoke with Pawan regarding the ROL. And so he really supported me and on how to decide my ROL, and how to be patient and really be in a positive mindset while just waiting. And also the most important thing is how to send the letter of intent, how to send the letter of interest. All that is very, very important, and letter of interest and letter of intent really plays a role on how you get your interviews, and where you actually rank. And then post match, I was very, very happy with what I got from the USMLE Sarthi team, and I hope you all can get the same.
So, Akhil, first question, they all want to know which specialty.
Okay, I applied for internal medicine, and I also applied for peds, but I match in internal medicine.
Okay. Then, what were your one or two top challenges during this entire journey?
I guess the most challenging was writing the personal statement. Because this is actually my first time writing a personal statement. I've never written a personal statement before, and also making a good polish, a good polished CV, and also the interview skills. Those were my biggest challenges, and it was all addressed by the Sarti team.
Okay. How much total US clinical experience did you have?
I think a total of like
Months.
7 months. Yeah, a total of 7 months. But it was not all internal medicine. I had like 1 month in peds as well. Because I needed personal. I needed like a letter of recommendation from peds to apply in peds.
Of course, of course. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Akhil. Appreciate your time and congratulations once again, matching in internal medicine. The visa seeking applicant is great. So thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. A lot of you are asking questions about the rotation. So, Marina, if you can put the link to our rotations, USMLE residency match.usmlesarthi.com/rotations. So you guys can look up the rotations, you can filter, and our team will get back to you on the availability. His year of graduation, I think, was 2020. So rotations, and then also research. I think you had a lot of questions. What is a PD rotation? So if you go to our website, we do offer rotations with several program directors. So you go to the website that Marina has just posted, residencymatch.usmlesarthi.com. There is a box to the left which says PD rotations. You can check that and see we have several tele as well as on-site rotations, and with program directors in family medicine, internal medicine, transitional year, and so on. What is the ideal number of research publications for IM? I would say go for quality, don't go for quantity. But I think if you have 2 to 3 good, solid manuscripts publications, that should do it. And if you want to check up our courses, so Marina maybe post the link to the IRR and Dr. Weissman. If you join the research now, by September, the IRR course can give you 2 publications if you work towards it. Should an old YOG choose rotations in rural or university hospitals? So I think what you have to understand is most of the university hospitals, you are going to be an observer. And now we do have certain where you can do hands-on, but as an older YOG, if you are only an observer, that may not help you. So university hospitals, I think, are okay to do maybe one rotation as a good brand. Maybe you are getting it at Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, so on and so forth. I think one rotation as an old YOG is good to do. But remember, you are going to be an observer. As an older YOG, you really, really have to show your clinical competence and understanding of the US healthcare system. What about old grads with failed attempts in steps? So as you can see, our speakers, Mathew had attempts, Mayank had attempts, and they all matched. You can match with attempts also. We just have to figure out which specialty and all those kind of things. So set up a profile review with us. Sejal, also give them my link. Lastly, Sejal just reminded me, we do have, if you are interested in going into the match this season, they are offering attractive discounts on our plans. Okay, so I think Sejal just texted it. So take a look, the very attractive discounts on platinum, gold, bronze, that I think you can take avail this season. Can a graduate student get hands-on USCE? Yes, a graduate student can do it. Again, go to our website, which Marina has posted, residencymatch.usmlesarthi.com. We can get you USCE as well. Tips on dual specialty, we will talk. In fact, Arundhati, our next speaker. So Arundhati, that's a good segue to you. Again, Arundhati has been a very, very dedicated, passionate, student, I would say, very helping to others. And she also leads our volunteering group. So we have a volunteering group. We help people get free volunteering opportunities. Maybe we'll talk about that also. But I don't want to steal your thunder away, Arundhati. Welcome and congratulations again to you and your family
you,
on
sir.
the wonderful match. And the stage is yours.
Thank you for this opportunity, Pawan sir. I matched in categorical internal medicine, which was my dream specialty, and I did overcome a lot of challenges. So I feel that if you work towards it, you can do it too. And you just need the right guidance and the right steps, because time just flies. Like when you start in, like, it's March and already till September, time just flies. So you have to take proper steps, and I feel that USMLE Sarthi was very important in guiding me, and the amount of pain that the panelists take in giving lectures and in managing your minute details, including your dress code, your appearance, the where you look in the camera, to big things like personal statements and getting your application in order, helping for many other things that are on the list. So I would definitely recommend it, and it has helped beyond measure. The other thing I would like to talk about clinical rotations, which are specifically for internal medicine residency. I feel that you need at least 2 letters of recommendation, which are specifically from internal medicine physicians, preferably from US, and that will help you stand out, and that will help you get into interviews and help them to look at your application. The other thing I wanted to talk about, what kind of specific rotations you need. So outpatient rotations as well as inpatient rotations are very important in getting internal medicine. Inpatient, I mean, going in wards. Actually, like what I did is like actually staying with the resident, like as a resident from 6 a.m. to maybe till their call time gets over at 7 p.m. So just living that day as a resident throughout your rotation, it may be 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but you have to do that just to get that experience, and that helped me a lot talk about it in the interviews. And with those details, they know like you have actually worked. The other important thing is getting an ambulatory experience in the outpatient clinic, in the OPD as we call it, and that helps you to get a picture of what different patients get, and you can talk to the patients and maybe present the cases to your residents, fellows. If you are doing an observership, and if it's not like hard, if it's not an hands-on experience, you can still present those cases and findings to your residents and fellows and attendings where you are rotating. So that will help you too, and you can talk about it in the interviews. The other thing about interviews is that they can see your how genuine you are, and if you have truly worked, and if you have material to talk about it, they ask questions, and they will definitely go in more details about it. The other thing I want to talk about, some part about research. Like I work as a clinical researcher at a US university, and I feel that if you are planning for internal medicine and to some extent family medicine, you have to get some kind of research. And I know graduating from India, research is a bit tough. So I think USMLE Sarthi has wonderful programs that can help you in research, getting your foot into the world of research and getting some publications before you apply. Even if they are submitted for publication, that's good. You can mention it in your ERAS application. So at least like Pawan sir said, 2 or 3 publications are sufficient. If you have more, you can talk about it. Basically, you have to connect. What I observed is you have to connect the clinical research into clinical patient care, and you will be able to do that once you get into the research field. So I feel these are some points that makes a well-rounded application and will definitely help you stand out and work towards your goal. And I hope the best for all of you. Thank you.
So Arundhati, one question, and by the way, she was very, very committed. I know you did quite a bit of volunteering, especially Teen Heal, and
Yes.
I know this came up. Volunteering discussion did come up in your interview. So how
Yes, a lot.
important is volunteering? I think a lot of us underestimate volunteering. So how important is volunteering, and how can you connect all of that in the interviews?
So it is definitely very important to volunteer because it gives you an edge over the other applicants. And the fact that it came out in almost every of my interview, even like I dual applied, so it came up in internal medicine as well as in family medicine. And nowadays programs, they're looking for well-rounded candidates. They don't just look at scores or your academic performance. They look at you as a whole person and how committed you are to give it back to the community. And that's where the volunteering for Teen Heal, which is a wonderful program, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of it. We are working tirelessly towards social media addiction and substance abuse addiction. And this came up in the interviews, that the program directors and faculty were interested in knowing how actually you are making a difference, or what measures you will take to and will you be able to continue it during residency. So that was another boon, like they were interested in knowing that. And it also shows a compassionate side of you, that apart from your like rotations and stuff that you need for your application, you are also thinking like a physician, you are also thinking like a doctor, and helping the community, helping patients out by volunteering, you're donating your time. That is very important to show the compassionate side of you. And I feel that you need to recognize when you're applying and when you're going for interviews, you need to recognize that you have to come out as a compassionate, a mature, and a committed person who is ready to give it all for your medical practice. So that was something that did come up in every of my interview. And many of the program directors, even chief residents, they were very interested in knowing, like, how can we be a part of this? And this is a noble cause. So I think it would definitely help all of you as well.
Well, thank you, Anupam. Aru, this is
Thank you, sir.
great. Congratulations once again. I know
Thank you
your
so much.
parents were very happy, and I was very fortunate to meet them. So welcome again. Enjoy your match, and I'll see you in one of the next conferences.
Yes, I just want to add one thing,
Of course.
that Pawan sir and the entire Sarthi team, I mean, including Aditi, Sejal, and all the panelists who are physicians across US, they dedicate themselves for your progress. So it is a very, very important, very commendable thing that someone is so tirelessly working for you to uplift you and achieve your goals. So becoming a part of this family has been a blessing for me, and I'm really grateful to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We were honored to, be part of your journey. So thank you. All right, let's move on. I will take some questions before I go to Anupamdeep, our next speaker. When to apply visa for USC? You can apply as soon as possible. Again, with all our rotations, we can give you visa invite letter. Remember, and we will have a webinar on visa. I think a lot of you are asking these questions because of some changes in the administration and some other things. So we will do that. Sejal just posted link to Teen Heal. This is our volunteering organization. So take a look at that if you are interested in joining Teen Heal. Again, for those of you who are asking questions specific to your profile, I'm an old YOG, whatever scores, Sejal, give them my phone number, my WhatsApp. Please get in touch with me. I promise I will get back to you before Monday. This webinar goes on today and tomorrow. I may not have time, but I will personally look at your profile. We will talk about it. Hopefully I can give you some tips. So my number, Sejal can give you, and Sejal has been fantastic as well, along with Aditi and Marina, really helping the students. How to cover gaps in our CV after graduation. So this is a tough one, but the good thing is IRAS allows you 10 experiences and 10 only, so you can pick and choose. So as long as you recently have had no gaps, I think a lot of our students did very well without that. Maybe this you can take, Arundhati, one question. If someone applies for 2 specialties, how many rotations are ideal per specialty? So how do you balance these 2 specialty conundrums?
So I applied for internal medicine and family medicine. Both are great specialties in my opinion. And if you want to balance the rotations, I advise doing one specialty rotation at a time to get over with internal medicine rotations which are dedicated towards IM, and then you can go to family medicine. I personally did like 6 to 8 weeks of family medicine rotation, but more than 8 months of internal medicine. Since I'm based in US, it was easier for me. But if you're traveling from an outside country, you can plan for specific rotations, and I think that will help you a lot for balancing the rotation. So, but I think if you are planning to apply for family medicine, you need at least one letter of recommendation from a family medicine physician, and for internal medicine, you need 2 letters specifically. That's what all the websites mention.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Arundhati. All right. Again, like Sejal has mentioned, there are a lot of discounts this week for a wonderful match that we've had. So we want to give back to the community. So if you are looking for our match plans, Sejal, if you can be just sending them the discounts page, that will be great. How can we get publications if we cannot afford it? Well, unfortunately, it's hard, but we still have opportunities. So for those of you who volunteer, so we have a volunteer organization called Teen Heal, which Arundhati is leading. And, as part of that, we are gathering data and, of course, publications. For those of you who gather data, you're free to publish. That is the only thing we can help you with if you are looking for free publications. And, we are trying our best to help for those of you who need help. But to publish by yourself, you need a lot of discipline. You need a lot of perseverance. We are able to help you with that, but rest of it is up to you. Volunteering, does it count in India also? Yes, it does. Volunteering everywhere counts. Of course, if you do it with a US-based organization, probably carries a bit more weight. With that, I want to move on to our next speaker, Anupamdeep. I know she has to leave. She works. So, Anupam, welcome. And, I know you are getting ready to leave, but thank you for joining us. Again, congratulations on a wonderful match. Why don't you share a bit about yourself, your journey, your challenges?
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be able to share my journey with all of you. My journey started just 4 years ago. I cleared all my steps and then I applied for family medicine. This was my first cycle and I got 4 interviews towards the end and I matched in my first preference. And I'm very happy and I'm very grateful. And I do believe that it would not have been possible without Sarthi team and without all the guidance from Pawan sir and from everybody else in the team. So it made a huge difference.
So Anupam, I know you are an old YOG. What were the specific challenges that you felt, were holding you back? And then how did you overcome those?
Well, first of all, as an older IMG, first thing I would say is that we have to adjust our expectations. We can start from the rock bottom. We can start without any support, but we might want to be a surgeon or psychiatrist maybe 15 years ago, but we have to adjust your expectations. I think that's where you came in and you told me that family medicine will be ideal for you. So that was one huge part of it. Other challenge I would say is that you really will have to reinvent yourself, reinvent your profile, and then do recent things like research and volunteering and get a recent experience, in the sense that you are not considered old. You have so many experiences that you can talk about them and show that you are relevant and you are up to speed with everything. And not having any contacts, that's one problem that older IMGs might face. That is where Sarthi helped me with devising tools and plans to do aggressive program outreach and writing the letters of interest to the programs and also in program selection. So I think step by step, older IMGs can overcome these challenges.
So Anupam, what I like about you is you always give those tidbits which are very appropriate, reinventing yourself. And then on Monday, you said you were a dinosaur when it came to year of graduation. I don't believe it. I mean, but reinventing yourself. So give us some idea on what are the things students can do to reinvent.
Well, everybody's situation is different, but when it comes to older IMGs, and especially when it comes to women, we start seeing ourselves as moms and as housewives, and we let go of our dreams and we put everybody else first. So even though our dreams never die, it's important to see ourselves first, how we are and what our goals are and what our intentions are. And once we are clear on that, then we start taking steps actively towards making those things come true. And every little bit counts, every little experience counts. Even when we go and volunteer, I have extensively volunteered in free clinics. Every experience adds on to your story. So it all shows in the interview. When you are there, it shows. Even little things like your hobbies, it takes time to reframe everything and kind of see it as a good thing, as your positive point. And that's how you can put your best foot forward. And that's what I meant by reinventing.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. And, that's an important point when she says even hobbies or everything in your ERAS CV and personal statement, each line matters. Whether you are an older YOG or a recent YOG, don't think ERAS, CV and PS and these volunteering are just fillers. Each and everything counts, and you never know what can come up for discussion in the interview. So absolutely, you should spend time, like she said, in reassessing your expectations and what you can do and what is realistically possible. And one of the questions I'm getting is it possible for IMG to match in general surgery? The answer is yes. So we have had this year, like in previous years, matches in OB-GYN, in general surgery, in prelim surgery. It happens, it can happen, but the profile matters. And so for example, OB-GYN or general surgery, very high score, recent graduate, probably a lot of research. So these things can happen. You just have to, each profile is different. So thank you, Anupamdeep. I appreciate your time. Wonderful match, and hopefully you can get some time with your family and enjoy. This is very, very inspirational.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Moving on, we have Chetna. I think, Chetna, are you there? Yes. So again, our math students, Chetna. So Chetna, I know you wanted to talk about tips with low scores. A lot of students have low scores and things like that. So tell us a bit about your journey, your profile, and then how did you overcome the challenges that you may have faced?
Basically, I graduated in 2023 and I applied to pediatrics this year. And I think both in my mind and in reality, the actual challenge, the major challenge that I faced is getting over my step two score. Because I got a 225 in step two. And I remember like the day I saw my score report, I was quite devastated because that was not what I was expecting. And I was very upset and I hadn't even done my rotations back then. So I was not sure if, it was a good idea to continue and to invest so much into the process when I was just, I had just done the steps at that point. But my parents did encourage me. They're like, at least go to the US, see whether you like it or not, see how the rotation works. So I did go to the US, I did my rotations. And I think reflecting back on my journey now, I think with respect to a low score, the first thing you have to do, like the other panelists have said, is adjust your expectations, because of course a 220 is not a 250, and you have to be really mindful when you're researching programs during your application. You have to see which programs have score cutoffs, because you will be filtered out of those programs. You have to also think about your CV and understand the fact that while scores are important, they are only one component of your application. And as an individual, I always say there's a niche in everybody's application. Someone has more research experience, someone has more clinical experience, someone has more volunteering experience. And I think it's more about how you leverage a combination of those experiences to make yourself seem like a qualified candidate for a residency position. And I also believe that because I was a recent graduate, I think I also, once I came back from the US and once I was done with my application, I did work as a junior doctor in an NICU setup near my home for like 3 months. And I did put that as well on my ERAS application. And I was asked about that in interviews. And I know that, Sarthi always talks about leveraging your home country experience in a meaningful way during while applying. So I think that is how I navigated my low score.
So talk a bit about, looks like you were able to get over this low score kind of mentally, this challenge of low score. So give some tips to other applicants who may have low scores, but mentally they are fighting this battle. So what all did you do to convince yourself that yes, you have it in you to match? And, like you said, score is just one criteria, it's not everything. How did you move away from all the negativity that we all see, when people start saying, oh, low score, you won't match?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to take some time after you get your score to, to allow it to sink in and to process that information. And also, to regain that belief in yourself. Like I said, you have to make yourself understand that score is just one component of your application, and you are much more capable than that one exam. Maybe it was not your day. It was just one day, it's just one exam. And you have to accept the fact that you have a lot more when it comes to your application. You have a lot more that you can do. You can do more clinical rotations, you can gain clinical experience in your home country, you can volunteer. There's a lot that you can do to make yourself a, a well-rounded applicant. It is not just the score that makes someone a well-rounded applicant. I think telling yourself that again and again throughout the math season, and eventually, till you start believing it, is how you cope mentally, I think, with the stress of a low score.
Yeah. Anything specific you did in pediatrics other than rotations? What was, what stands or what makes a pediatric applicant stand differentiated from others? So obviously rotations in pediatrics, what else?
Yeah, I would say volunteering does count. Volunteering with children, volunteering experiences that focus on the pediatric aspects of care. Like I was working with the South Indian Medical Students Association here in India. We were developing a module on how to implement trauma-informed care for victims who had gone through for survivors of child sexual abuse, and that was one of the key experiences that I had where that was one of the key modules that I was part of while working with them. So that was one of the experiences that I was really able to put forward and, sort of leverage to cement my interest in pediatrics.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Chetna. I appreciate your time. Again, congratulations on a wonderful match, and thank you for giving back to the students.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. Since we are running a bit ahead of time, let me take some questions on the chat. And now you guys can just put in more, and then we'll obviously go to our next speaker. I think Tanvi and Lalit, I can see you. Value of home country residency. Someone is asking what is the value. So home country residency absolutely adds a lot of value, right? So there's no doubt about it. Whether you are applying in the same specialty. So let's say you have a residency in internal medicine, applying in IM, pathology, applying in pathology, etc. Really, really helps. Now, if you have a home country residency in ortho here is very hard, but it can help you match in IM and so on and so forth. OB-GYN to FM absolutely can help, but there are other things you got to trade off, right? Because your YOG goes down and all of that. So home country residency in general is a good idea if you have it, right? Don't spend 3 years doing home country residency because who knows what happens after 3 years. What if you are an old graduate? So are all applications screened by AI? Of course, they screen the applications, but you have heard from so many older graduates, Myla, Arundhati, and others, Mathew was there. So all old graduates, this is where we help you avoid those filters and, go to the top. I think Mayank was also an older graduate, and you will hear from Tanvi as well. Boxes you should take to get into general surgery. Okay. High scores goes without saying. Your best shot is going to be through prelim surgery. Categorical general surgery is very, very hard unless you've done 2-3 years of research in the US and or you have a home country residency in surgery. So we've had 3 or 4 of our students match in prelim surgery. We have had OB-GYN matches also directly, but it's not easy. So if you are really interested in surgery, I think prelim surgery is the way to go. High scores and a bit of research, of course, with relevant USCE. Do most old graduates match in family medicine? Is IM or PEDS possible? IM, PEDS, family medicine, even neurology is possible for older graduate. It just depends on your profile. We've had, and the person is not here, for example, a 22-year-old visa-seeking IMG take a pre-match in internal medicine. It depends on the scores and what you've been doing, right? So it is possible for older YOGs to match in FM, PEDS, IM, neuro, possibly even psych. Is 2 LORs enough to apply for family medicine? The answer is yes, but the 3rd or the 4th LOR should not say that you are interested in internal medicine. So you got to align it. If you have 2 in FM, 1 in OB-GYN, 1 in pediatrics, probably you can pull it off. Is it possible to pre-match? Of course, it is possible to pre-match. We've had pre-matches in internal medicine, in FM. So pre-match every year is possible. I mean, that's not a problem. Boxes to tick for emergency medicine. Emergency medicine continues to be a very heavy AMG dominated specialty. During COVID, of course, there was a shift for a couple of years. You absolutely need rotation with SLOE, standardized letter of evaluation, emergency medicine, and Marina, maybe you can put the link for our EM rotations, which have SLOE. So SLOE is important, and high scores are important for emergency medicine, but I definitely want you to keep a backup. just putting name in 3 to 4 publications, is it enough? So that is an important question. Putting your name in publication is very, very risky because you never know where the interview will go. You never know how they look at it. And believe me, they are looking a lot more closely into your contribution in that research. If you put a name in 3 to 4 publications and you have no idea what happened in that research, I think that's a very risky strategy. I don't recommend it. How bad is the fail in step 3 if I have low step score? Yeah, that's it's a bummer, frankly, but I'm happy to look at the other parts of the profile to see what you can do. Does volunteering work in India count? Yes, volunteering is giving back to community everywhere it counts. Okay. All right. I will take more questions as we get on this webinar today. So don't worry. Keep having the questions sent. If you need a profile review, set up time or text me directly. But I want to move on. I think our next speaker is Tanvi. So I move on, then I will come back. So Tanvi, are you there?
Yeah.
So Tanvi again is an older graduate, very committed, wanted a specific geographical location, but did everything possible to get in there. Has juggled her family commitments and everything else. So welcome Tanvi. Share your journey and hopefully some challenges that you overcame.
Thank you so much, Pawan sir, for having me. Yeah, so I did my med school from India and I graduated in 2010, and then I did my OBY residency till 2015, and after that I worked for a few years and then I came to US. So yeah, I am old graduate. I applied 14 years post YOG. Most difficult challenge is, I think, old YOG. Everybody will tell you you won't match post 10 years. It's very, very difficult. It's impossible. I mean, it is challenging, it is difficult, but you can match. You'll have imposter syndrome every day. You'll doubt yourself every day. You'll have like fresh graduates with, awesome scores and CVs, but you have to, keep believing in yourself. That's what I say. And you have to cater your application according to the specialty you are applying. So like I applied for family medicine. I did rotations in family medicine. I attended their grand rounds. I went to conferences. So my application was more of family medicine and less of OBGY. And then another thing that helped me was volunteering experience. I did volunteering in India, but I was asked about volunteering experience in like every interview. So family medicine, they like really like people. And what different thing I did this cycle was, I think Sarthi helped me a lot in interview preparation. So I don't think there was hardly any question which was asked out of like Pawan sir's classes. Almost all the questions were discussed. So I had like already formulated my answers according to the questions. I had different stories which I could fit in the questions. And you have to be like very, very thorough with your interview prep and everything, whatever you have put in your CV. So I did research for 1.5 years. I worked as a postdoc fellow, but I knew my like research in and out. If I was asked, I knew what I have done, what are the results, everything. And whatever is on my CV, like you have to be very, very, thorough with that. They'll ask you anything and everything. And another thing is program outreaching and networking, I would say. So keep emailing the programs. You won't get answers from like, most of them, but you have to try your best. You will get answers. Like I emailed somebody in the night and I got an interview next morning. So you have to keep emailing, program outreaching so that your name pops up after every 2 weeks and you'll get a response from them. So I think that's what helped me. I mean, in my case, I took a gamble. I applied to like very few places because of my family constraints. You shouldn't take it, but I had my limitations. But luckily, I matched.
So Tanvi, we have a lot of audience, in similar situation, family commitments and other things. How did you juggle everything? I mean, it's not easy, right? After 14 years, life has happened, kids, spouses, their careers. Give us some insight on how you managed all that.
I mean, it is difficult, but you have to think about yourself, and then everything just puts in place. Plan everything accordingly. Like my husband has a job, I have a kid. I did, everything. I planned in advance. Okay, I have my interview on this day. How will I send him to school? Who will pick him up? Like, just make a plan. I have to do a rotation. I have to do a rotation. So I planned everything according to it. You need help, you ask for help. That's what I say. So, okay, I have a friend or I hired somebody who can just come, pick him up from the bus stop. And then for us, I think females, we don't think about ourselves, okay, that's the job, that's the school, but you have to think about yourself and you have to keep believing, I would say.
Yeah. One question which definitely keeps popping up is, as an older graduate, how did you, whether in the interview or otherwise, convince the programs that you have it, what it takes? YOG is just a number, but you are up there, you have the clinical experience, you understand everything, and you will hit the ground running. So what exactly was your
I think
pitch?
first and foremost is you have to convince themselves that you are trainable. And that's the most important thing, because most of the programs think like you are older than like some of their attendings too. So, you'll create a problem in their program and you'll be a troublemaker. So you have to convince them that you are trainable and you have been clinically active. So I did my residency, which helped me. But after that, what have you done? So I think the clinical rotations play a very important role, US clinical experience, and they actually know the letter writers, who are they, like, are they authentic? Have they written like authentic letters for you? So that's what really mattered. They ask you like, how are you going to do? What have you done since graduating residency? So you have to be clinically active, you have to do clinical experience here, and you have to like convince them, I mean, I have done it before and I'm all ready to do it all over again, and I'm like a quick learner. And that shows in your like clinical experience and your letterheads. For that, you have to be clinically active and you have to be humble, I would say. Just don't show them, I have done this, I have done that. I've done so many cases, I've done so many deliveries. Obviously, you are here to learn, and they want somebody who is trainable and who is ready to learn. So that's what.
Well, thank you, Tanvi. Appreciate your time. I know you're traveling today, so wonderful that you could take out time to help others. And congratulations again to you and your family. And we'll see you back sometime soon.
Sure. Thank you so much. I would really like to thank all the Sarthi family and the panelists. I mean, it wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I will answer questions that are coming on the chat. So give it some time because we do have other speakers who may have to go. But next up is our miracle kid, Lalit Dayal. And why he's a miracle kid, he will tell you himself. So Lalit, we've all been waiting for it. So congratulations. I don't want to steal your thunder, but talk a bit about yourself and what was the miracle that I'm talking about? How did it happen?
Everybody, thank you, Pawan sir, for allowing me to speak on this panel. Yeah, the journey was quite a whirlwind. Just to give you some context, guys, like I finished in 2022. Then I took time for my USMLEs, and had year of graduation, red flags, whatever. But then as soon as I finished my step 2 exam, which was in November 29th, obviously I was already late in the cycle. But then multiple mentors of mine, they said, okay, build up your application and apply in the SOAP. So I was the first time applicant into the SOAP. And as you guys know,
you finished your CK in November of 2024.
You're right. We had a meeting on Christmas Day.
Yes.
I was asking just the basic questions like you guys are asking today, right? And like somehow, as you know, like it's a single digit match process during SOAP. And I was lucky enough to get 2 interviews, and it comes down to, guys, your interview and your US clinical experience. Why I say US clinical experience is you never know who you're going to meet during that time. I'm not talking about program directors. I'm not even talking about faculty. It could be your fellow colleagues who are in these programs who are willing to help you because they know your clinical acumen. right? They know your work ethic. They know, okay, I can work with this guy. Okay, I can vouch for him to the program director, right? And at that point, red flags, all of that does not matter. What matters is how you. So one thing I can highlight is you guys need to create a theme in your application, a theme, a story for yourselves. It's not about, oh, I scored 250 or 260. Yeah, that matters. But what did you do besides that? What was your journey, right? Like I kept highlighting, for me, it was marathon running and all that. That whole, as Pawan sir was seen my application. So what is your story? What led you into medicine? And it should be a repeating theme all throughout your application, your personal statement. It should resonate everywhere. And as you guys have all seen Pawan sir's like webinars and like videos, how to build a personal statement. How are you going to be effective as an IMG in the US clinical system? What experience have you had in the US clinical system? What is your overall journey and how does it resonate every time throughout your application? Whether it be volunteer experience, whether it be clinical experience, scores get you in the door, then it's you, right? How personable are you with the program director? How personable are you with the co-residents? And every communication, I have to emphasize this, every communication you have with the program that you're applying to has to be well curated. You cannot just send random emails. You cannot send random texts. They have to be well curated to you as a person to make you stand out. What is the one characteristic that makes you stand out from everyone else? And there is something, you all have it. You just need to search for it. And that's why when they say, take your time to build your personal statement, I was thinking about this for years, what I want to write, how I want to curate it. And then obviously, yeah.
I'm sorry, this is a very, very important point. The story matters. It is not in isolation. I did 3 USCs, I did 1 research, So what he's saying is very, very important. Think of it as your story that you're telling. It's a movie. It's a movie about your personal and professional life that you have to talk about in maybe 10 minutes, right?
Right. And then on top of that, like, you have to have people reach out for you too, especially during times where it's honest. The soap is like the Wild West. You get 15 minutes, you got to sell yourself and keep selling yourself after that. If you got an interview, that means your red flags don't matter, right? Then you have to get your support network to start emailing these people and tell them you are good enough. Your dean, your clinical dean, that's why everything counts. If you did well, like do well in everything. Do not discount any part of your medical journey. Everything matters. Right? So like I had my dean email on my behalf. Right?
So talk to us about that SOAP thing. Did you apply all 45 programs in the first
Sure.
round itself?
Okay, so let's give some context about SOAP. Like it started at 11 a.m., right? And then 10 a.m. is when the list came out. So for me, I didn't even have the anxiety going into it because I didn't go unmatched, right? Or like I technically went unmatched, but I was applying for first time in SOAP. So I already had. Oh, secondly, you cannot do this yourself. I had my brother with me and I had a whole support network, like kind of like a war room, right? One person was researching programs, another person was, like preparing me for interviews. Like you cannot do this on your own. Okay. And so you need to put your profile. I used another service called Match a Resident. You need this to somehow like really solidify which programs are good for you, right? Besides Sarthi team, they have their own match algorithms and like they help you filter that way as well. But you need to have multiple filters because every search engine has they're not all accurate. So you have to like use Residency Explorer, you have to use Frida, you have to use something else. And then if it aligns, then you do it. So I made my list of an Excel spreadsheet of my programs, and then you have to see which programs have 3 slots, which my threshold was 3 slots and above. I did not look at any programs with 2 or 1. Those were Hail Marys if I had anything left over. All right. So my application was all FM, but I did apply to 5 IMs just for the sake of it to see, because IM had 14 slots. And what if I got an interview in one of those, right? But I kind of had a gut feeling that it would be FM. And lo and behold, that's what it was, right? And even during this whole process, new programs sprout up all the time, and they could just want to be, one of my interviews had a full panel, right? It had like a pre-screen call, random call in the week. And they just said, "Are you Lalit?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he went straight into it. He's like, "Are you just applying to FM or do you do IM? So you got to be transparent." I'm like, "Yeah, I did apply. It's a soap. They know you're gonna apply to other things, right?" And then he asked, like, like year of graduation. He talked about red flags and just be transparent and say what did you do? What lessons did you learn moving forward from that? How did you change yourself to get to that next level? That is what they want to know. They do not care if you have a TAMS or year of graduation. They don't care. But how did you change? What paradigm shift did you make as a student? Right? That's more important because they want to see resilience, adaptability. They want to see those noteworthy characteristics exude through you. You guys have to do that in the dean's letter, right? It's part of that. So and everything you say to them has to be backed up by examples. Everything. That one case multiple people here on the panel have been talking about, that one case that resonates, that one case you're going to see in your US clinical experience. There's going to be one case. And there's going to be questions that are going to stump you, but you take your time, pause, but you'll come up with the answer, I promise you. But you have to practice too, right? I practice with Dr. Chatterjee. I practice with my clinical dean. I practice with my brothers. Like, you have to practice the way it comes across. It maybe be a natural conversation, but I promise you, they're taking notes. They're looking at you at multiple ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are asking, so you are a visa seeking applicant who applied in SOAP and Match, right? People are
I needed a
finding it
J1,
hard to
guys.
believe.
Yeah, it is honestly a miracle. God's grace, something happened. Yeah, but you gotta align yourselves to position yourselves towards these people. They want to hire you. I promise you, they want to hire you. You guys will match. It's just about aligning your application, aligning your story, and remember, they're not gonna read your whole personal statement. They want to confirm it through you. They'll just they have their filters. That's going to be there. But then again, the people you meet in the clinical rotations and, if they're in that program or they've recently graduated, they can vouch for you. They can help you pass those filters. Right? Program doesn't know. They have thousands of people applying to one spot. How are you going to get past that? So what I can say is, work on your story, work on giving an effective elevator speech of yourself, work on networking. Another thing, if you guys are interested in for myself family medicine, then I would really stress on going to the AAFP National Conference, which happens every August in Kansas City. I realize it's a cost to go there, but it is well worth it. You never know who you're going to meet there. From fellow residents to other medical students and you will share a story and it will help inspire your own story. I went to this conference 3 times, guys. I thought I would have to go to a 4th time this August if I didn't match. So you got to build your US story, not your international story. You are coming to a US based residency program. They want the US story. What else can I say? Yeah, be transparent. You should show, how do you show a primary care focus? Primary care focuses on obviously your clinical skill, which if you guys are a year of graduation, make sure you do an externship. Get that hands-on experience, do Nexplanons, do joint injections, and show them, like, even like Dr. Chatterjee told me, like, how many have you done? And is it recent, right? Because they want to see, can you hit the ground running when you get there? Yeah, we'll mold you, but can you do the job, right? And how you can only show them by telling them in the experiences section, right? What else? I'm still, honestly, guys, I'm still in shock that it all happens.
Well, no, I mean, this is all your hard work and your
Yeah.
proactiveness. And,
Yeah.
frankly, I mean, you've done something not many people can pull off,
Yeah, no, it's God
starting
given.
Dr.
And
CK in November.
yeah, no, do your job, guys. Do your job. Get your exams done. I know it's hard, but Sarthi has the appropriate tools to help you. And seek advice from if it's not working, use your network. Talk to people above you. There's no magic formula. Everyone does the same thing who are finishing this process, and nobody's asking for 250 scores. I promise you that for primary care, if that's what you guys are going for. So, like, do your best, give your shot. Don't worry, don't take stress on attempts. Like, what happened in the past happened. You move forward. It's how you move forward is what is more important,
Yep, yep.
right? Like, Pawan sir never always motivated me to do it, never told me no. Like, this is the best resource right in front of you. I talked to him on Christmas Day. Who gives a time of day on that day? So, like, like, these guys are doing the right job, and it's an investment in your future. So do it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Lalit. Go and have fun, enjoy the match, and good luck in your upcoming 3 years.
Yeah, thank you, Pawan. Take care, guys. Good luck with everything.
All right, thank you. And let me take some questions before I go to the next speaker, and I will answer other questions also. So, stay with us. How important is LinkedIn profile or other social media presence? I would say it is absolutely important. You never know what they are going to look at. Okay. So, it shows you LinkedIn, things like LinkedIn shows you as a thought leader. Maybe you have a perspective, you also use it for outreach. So use it. Social media, of course, goes without saying, right? We are all mature adults. So make sure your social media profile is something which is worthy of being a professional physician. Cut the junk out. It is important. You never know what they will look for, especially in the main cycle. Soap can be fast paced, but yes, sanitize your social media profile, use LinkedIn. It is becoming increasingly important. Is it possible for old YOG to match into big shot hospitals like Mayo and Cleveland Clinic? I would say it depends on a couple of things, which specialty, what your profile is. Have you actually worked at those hospitals? So a lot of, we've had students match in Cleveland Clinic, Florida. We've had Mayo Clinic, there's one in Wisconsin also. So they are very, very competitive, no doubt about it, right? Specialty matters. Now, if you have done research at these places, because they need some kind of a validation if you are an older YOG. If you are from, say, a top institute in your country, which everyone knows, if you are from AIMS or Aga Khan, or, pick the top institute of your country, they will know it. There's a lot of faculty in most of these places from your top institute. So even if you are an older graduate, if they can get some validation and you clear their basic criteria of scores, research, I think they will be flexible with older YOG. But in general, it is very hard in these top institutes. That goes without saying. Okay. How many USCEs did he do, I think, or anyone? I would tell you minimum 3. And we do have a lot of USCs where remotely you can do patient interactions. They will assign you 8 to 10 patients a day, EMR access. So maybe Marina, you can post that link about our L1 IMMI or L12 direct link so that they can look at those rotations. Our rotations, which is worth 2 weeks, valuable to the program. I think if you have done 3 to 4 months of rotations, then one rotation which is of 2 weeks may be okay. But if you have only, every rotation is 2 weeks, then it's not really worth it. So look at the link that Marina has sent. This is a good rotation. Marina, also send the link to the tele rotation of this rotation. So L1 IMMIT, and some of the other rotations. What about older YOG and psychiatry? Now, psychiatry has become increasingly difficult in the past 3-4 years. Post-COVID, a lot of American graduates have been moving into psychiatry. And of course, the issues with mental health and a lot of help that patients need. Psychiatry will need very, very specific research, strong research, and step 3. It has become competitive, but we've had students match. So it is not as easy as 3 years ago. Okay. Conferences that are important, maybe in the next webinar, we'll do a webinar on conferences and various specialties. So we'll make a list and maybe go over, EM, IM, cardiology, etc. So that, and Marina, if you can post the link to L12 IMMIT also. So Marina is posting some links. Take a look. Very good rotations. And Marina, the Texas rotation L5 IMTX also, I think a lot of people will need. Okay, move on, and I will answer the questions. I will come back, but our next speaker, Joyce Joan. Welcome, Joyce. Very glad to have you. I know you've had, and then I'll come to you, Georgemar. So I think I was told that Joyce has to leave, so I will come to you. So give it a minute, George. But Joyce, welcome. Congratulations on your match, and share your journey, share your challenges, and let's see.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, Mr. Pawan. First of all, I just wanted to let you know that I matched into pediatrics, and I had a year of graduation of 7 years. So meanwhile, I also did my pediatric residency back in India, and so that definitely helped. And other details of my profile would be that I was a non-visa requiring candidate, so that was also helpful. So the main things I would say that helped me was one is networking. Second is, of course, not requiring a visa. Third was interview skills. Like Dr. Lalit just mentioned previously, it's very important how you portray yourself during the interviews. It's very important how you project yourself on social media accounts as well, like Mr. Pawan said. So that's equally important. So I would say that you need to put yourself out there early on. So it would mean, just like how they say in order to get university rotations, you need to apply a year ahead. Similarly, you need to get into networking at least a year ahead, year before you even apply. So that's very, very important. And it's quite important to know what sort of programs you're applying to really understand the difference between what a community and university hospital is, what you are looking for. If you are really interested into academics, or if you're more interested in primary care and things like that. So, and then making your own list, irrespective of what somebody else says, and then going ahead and finding out who are the residents there, who are the faculty there, who is the program director, and make best friends with all the program coordinators if you can. That's really important. So get onto LinkedIn. That's the main place where I genuinely made friends. And so that is definitely a very important aspect into getting interviews as well. When I started off, I didn't even have a single USC, but it was mainly through networking. So even if you don't have a relative in the US, or if you don't have senior from your med school or anything like that, go out there. I took a copy of my CV and I went around to all the clinics nearby, all the pediatric clinics nearby, and I asked. It was, I got many rejections, okay, until I was almost about to give up when a kind doctor, he, gave me this opportunity. He was like, yeah, come on tomorrow itself. And that's how I was able to, build a connection. And from there, I was able to, expand my panel of mentors to from 1 to 5. So there you go. So just such small things really do matter. So that's what I wanted to say mainly. And even it's quite important to get in touch with residents on LinkedIn, because they will give you a little bit of insider aspects of the program, which of course a faculty or their website, the profile would not show. So and that will definitely help you if it's especially if it's a program that's offering a pre-match position, where on the website it may look all great, but there may be some aspects of the program that you wouldn't have found out if you didn't make friends with the residents on that particular program. If especially if you're somebody who likes a certain aspect of your medical training. For example, you want to do more of procedures and that program doesn't have it, so that will definitely not be beneficial for you, right? So you can definitely ask residents on LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever you can, and ask them specific things, not like oh, how is your residency going? Everybody will say it's going okay, it's fine, it's of course hectic and things like that. That's how residency is supposed to be. But ask them specific things with regard to what you want, as in ask them, like, if you're, for example, I'm really interested in pediatric emergency medicine, so I know that I love procedures and I want a program that is high on that. So in all my social what do you call it, events that they had for all the programs, so in most of them I did ask them, do you what's if I didn't ask, I'm pretty sure somebody else would have asked and I got my answer. So that's how. So they will remember, even those residents will remember you as that person, who is interested in PEM or who is interested in this particular aspect. And, they might put in a word for you, and definitely it's also a good place. LinkedIn is definitely a good place to even get mentors, not just connect with the residents, but even get mentors, and opportunities like research and even clinical opportunities. But more so, I've seen people get more of research opportunities on LinkedIn. So Instagram, I don't know how much that's going to help. I don't know how much people are going to let you into their life and things like that. So Instagram, Facebook, I really do not know. But definitely, I would say, tried and tested, LinkedIn is definitely good. And about Sarthi team, definitely the interview prep was what really helped me a lot, because there were so many minute things which I would have easily skipped, and I would have said a lot of blunders which I shouldn't have, but thanks to the interview prep, and especially Dr. Tan and Mr. Pawan sir's classes, everything, it was very useful. And really thank you so much for those sessions, and that is very, very, very helpful. So take home message, I would say, was it would be irrespective of your scores are important. I'm not saying it's not. Irrespective of your scores, interview prep is very, very important. whether you're a public speaker, whether you're good in English or no, whatever it is, it's important to know how to look at the camera, how to speak, how to sound confident, how to portray your strengths more than your weaknesses. So they should really ask you in depth to get to your weaknesses. Otherwise, you should try and portray your strengths more, and you should know how to do that. And the prep classes definitely help with that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Joyce, especially the insights on how to effectively use social media. I mean, a lot of students don't see the networking side of social media, and you're right. I mean, they just say, can I get a rotation? Can I get an observership? They don't go in depth, and how to leverage it strategically, I think, is a skill. So you seem to have mastered it. So great. So, last question before I let you go is specifically in pediatrics. What are the pediatrics programs looking for in an applicant? What specific things outside of scores and all that?
Of course, so something that I've always heard is scores are not very important in terms of pediatrics, is what people on the other side of the team have told me. But having said that, I feel I have got the number of interviews that I've got because of my step 2 score as well. So I wouldn't downplay the whole thing. And so yeah, what they're looking for is mainly your interest in pediatrics. Whether have you really applied to pediatrics, as a backup? That's the number one thing they want to look for. And number two, they would really like to see your interest. And how they do that is by checking, okay, have you done anything in pediatrics at all? Be it volunteering, be it US clinical experience, be it home country residency, like in my case, be it any research in pediatrics, things like that. So I think that's one main thing that they were looking into. And and I think personal statement does matter in pediatrics because many programs, actually, the interviewers actually brought up my personal statement, and they asked me, specific details of my personal statement, because somebody once told me pediatrics is all about, touchy stories in your personal statements and things like that. So yes, that they are supposed to be touchy. They are supposed to, it's a child's life, so that's supposed to influence you, and that's how you turn out to be a great pediatrician. So I think making your profile or your CV an all-rounded pediatric focused application, I think that's very important, including your photograph. So I had taken 3 different angles, and then many of my friends told me, pick this particular one because you look very kind and like a pediatrician in this. And the other one, you look like, a certain other type of doctor. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know that. So, such minute things, it does matter, apparently. So they will remember you, because when they're forming their rank order list, they will remember you as that, girl with a sweet smile or whatever, So, yeah.
Yeah, a very, very interesting tip. Thank you, Joyce. Appreciate it. And again, congratulations on your match. Do well and keep in touch. Keep coming back to help the IMGs.
Absolutely. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Okay, let's move on. So first, many of you, if you are interested in our, like she said, interview preparation, so gold and platinum, both plans come with more than 30 hours of interview preparation. And this would be the right time, I think, the cheapest time to buy that, because after that, towards the end of the season, the interview prep kind of fee goes up. So Sejal, if you can put a link to the gold plan and platinum plan, so that you guys can see what all we do extensively when it comes to ERAS, PS, CV, program search, interview preparation, all that. I think this is not clickable, Sejal. Or Aditi, I think Aditi, you posted it, but post the clickable link. So all of that we do cover in our plans. So get in touch with Sejal or Aditi if you need to. So Sejal, maybe you post your number or mine as well. So thank you, Sejal, for putting this clickable link. I will take a couple of questions before I go to Georgemar. So list of pre-match programs. So we do have a blog where we are outlining all the pre-match programs. It's on our website. The list keeps changing. So I think by next week, we will be able to update that list and send you it'll be available on our blog, the list of pre-match program. Okay. What other questions did I miss? If you want to add one or two questions, but I will come back. It's not that I'm going anywhere. Let's see if I have a question before I move. Okay, so keep adding the questions. I will take them after our speaker. So the next up is Georgemar. Georgemar, thank you for patiently waiting. Appreciate it. I know it. I don't know whether you are in the US or are you in your Philippines, I think, home country. But thank you for joining us at such late time. And tell us your journey. I know you are an older graduate, so. What challenges, visa or otherwise, how did you overcome? Which specialty did you match?
Thank you very much, Mr. Pawan. First of all, I'd like to thank the USMLE Sarthi group for guiding me in this residency matching. Actually, Mr. Pawan, I'm currently here in the United States in Michigan, where I currently match for the family medicine. Part of the struggles that I think as an international medical graduate is there is like a certain limit for the years of graduate when you try to apply for such programs. Like for example, in my part, since I was applying for family medicine, when I attended the national conference in Kansas, so I spoke with a lot of directors there, and that I learned that most of them love applicants who have at least 3 years of graduation. So what I did to overcome that challenges was to improve my curriculum vitae. So actually, I met Dr. Toon when I was doing my volunteer at one of the hospitals. And then that's what also I learned about the USMLE Sarthi. And during the COVID pandemic, since there were problems in getting some US clinical experience, I took the opportunity, spoke with the USMLE Sarthi agency, got experiences, and I started with Dr. Valerie for the primary care. It was very useful for me, especially in family medicine, which involves a lot of, the primary care conditions. And then I met also Dr. Saad, addiction medicine, which was very meaningful for me. Actually, I think that was the rotation that most of the directors love when I did my interview with them.
Yeah, it's a wonderful rotation. You're right.
Yes, actually. And actually, with that opportunity, I was able to help Dr. Saad guide the USMLE Sarthi students, how to write the proper history, do the physical exam. So that experience was what I told to most of my interviewers, and they loved it. Secondly, the research. Okay, since I'm an old graduate, I need to work on my research. Although I have research back home, I wanted it to be recognized internationally. So I worked with the Sarthi. I met Dr. Weissman. He taught me how to write manuscripts, the case reports. And I was able to collect or publish like 12 research projects, 12 or 13 research projects. And most of my program directors love that. And in relation to the research experience, we always need to relate our research into the practice or specialty that we are interested in. So for example, in the family medicine, it is better to gear towards the primary care setting of the research. And then actually, third is the networking. Just as I mentioned earlier, so there is this national conference that happens every, I think, June or July. It is better for the international medical graduates, especially the recent graduates, like between 3-year graduation, to come to these conferences to speak personally with the directors to know what they are looking for from these applicants. So using all of those things, I was able to build a better CV and I was able to overcome my challenges as an old graduate and finally match into my first choice, which is here in Michigan.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So, what are your tips for older YOGs? A lot of them have older YOGs, always are issues. So, some tips you have for them?
Okay. Actually, if you're really very old year of graduation, first and foremost, we need to improve our scores, get high scores. Okay, so I would suggest maybe we can get like 250s. So if we get that score 250s, the directors might become more lenient and accepting us as their applicants. Secondly is the clinical experience. So for me, since I was an old graduate, I took a lot of US clinical experience. Actually, I had, I think, more than 5 years. I started as a volunteer, but through Sarthi, there I added more. And then also for the experience, it is better that you get the hands-on, which USMLE Sarthi offers. Because in my previous experiences, I was only doing observership. And that is the thing that you should also not try to mention in your interview, okay? Because what they always want is that you are very good in the use of the EPIC or the EMR or the physical examination. That's what you're looking for. So I think those are my suggestions for our fellow medical students or graduates who are interested in participating the next year's residency match.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Georgemar. Appreciate your time and your tips.
Yes,
thank you and congratulations again on your wonderful match.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Pawan, and to say hi to Dr. Tun.
Oh, thank you. I will. So
Thank
he's talking about a couple of our panelists that help him. So I think his presentation also dispels a myth that research is not important for FM. A lot of times I get this research, how important is research for FM? And I would say it is important, may not be as important, say, as in orthopedics or dermatology. And also make sure you do research in FM also. And Marina, maybe you can post the link to IRR and Dr. Weissman's research that he did. So students can look up that research course if they are interested. And also he spoke about US clinical experience. So post the link to the USCE, Residency Match.usmlesarthi.com. So with that, let me take a couple of other questions that I missed. Do you have to match again if you have a prelim IM position? And the answer is yes, if you are in a prelim position. In fact, one of the students who was to come today, Dr. Saad, from our team, he matched in prelim IM last year, he matched again. So yes, you have to do it, but all our students generally are able to do it as well. So we even had no issues if you match in the prelim position. Again, before I move on, like I said, we are doing recognition and honoring of our students across in May in different cities in India. We may end up doing it in the US. So if you are in India, maybe Sejal, you can send that link. Join us in one of those locations. You can talk to the students, you can talk to us, and we can definitely answer your questions here as well. So I think this is just Sejal has just put it in the chat box as well. So thank you for that, Sejal. All right, let's go to Lynn. Our next speaker is Lynn. So Lynn, congratulations. Welcome. Please share your journey and How did you overcome your challenges?
Hi everyone. So my name is Lynn, and I'm a very old graduate. I graduated in 2015, and I also have an attempt, but I matched in internal medicine university affiliated program yesterday, and I would not have done it without the help of USMLE Sati. I started using USMLE Sati since 2020 for all of my rotations. I also use Platinum package to review my application profile and everything else. And I think that was the best decision I've ever made. I also took about like 3 mock interviews, and that really helped me prepare my interview journey. And so since I'm a very old graduate, when I came to US in 2020, I took up every opportunity I could get. Like I contacted Sati, and my first rotation was in Swedish hospital, but unfortunately the doctor passed away last year, and that was the best rotation ever. So and then second one is in another hospital with the Sati as well. And my third rotation, because I feel like for the tips for people who are looking for rotations with like, especially if you have attempts and year of like old grads, I would say when you go into these rotation, don't go there just to get a letter of recommendation. Show them that like you really want to be a doctor, you really want to like match into the residency program, and show them your true, genuine, sincere approach to them. Because one of the rotation, the physician offered me a job to work as her hospitalist assistant, and I worked with her for about 2 years when I was taking step 2 and step 3. I had a step attempt in 2020, step 1 attempt, because I rushed into things. Like I wasn't ready, but I thought that I was ready, and I took the exam and I didn't make it, and I failed my exam, but I didn't let that define me. Like I make sure that I will own up to it. So like that was all I had in my mind. And like I try to talk to everybody. I try to talk to people who has done this before, and I took up every opportunity I could get. And I make sure that I score pretty decent in step 2 CK. So the second time I tried my step 1, I passed the exam, and then the step 2 I scored about 247, I think. And then like I started doing all the rotations. So these rotation really helped me as well. And in the interview, they asked me about my attempt. Like I only got like, with my background, I got only 1 internal medicine interview invites, and the rest 9 of them are family medicine invites. So all these interview, like some of them asked me why I had an attempt in step 1. And when they ask you this question, do not startle, like do not like give them excuses, own up to it. I told them that, yes, I rushed into things. I let the calendar define me because I wanted to meet the residency deadline, and I took the exam and I didn't make it. But like, I learned from my mistake, and I try to do myself better, and I try to make sure I pass the second time, and also my follow-up exam. So I own up to it, and they really like that. I didn't give them excuses like I was not well, or like I didn't give them any excuses, because it like I was not ready, and I rushed the exam. So like own up to it. Like that's one tip that like I would give, because the program that I matched, they really did ask me, all of the interviewer asked me that, why did you have the attempt in your resume? And that's all I said, like, yeah, because like I wasn't ready and I rushed into things. So if you have like attempt in your resume, try to make sure that like you have other aspect of your application is complete. That's where like USMLE Sati came in very handy and very useful for me, because the first time Dr. Tun checked my application, she gave me a lot of good tips on like how to, even for the title, because since I work as a physician assistant, but since I don't have the physician assistant license, I had to come up with the name for my position, because it was not like a hospital directly hired me. It's just I was working as a doctor's assistant. So she came up with a very it's a very creative like position for me. Like, so these are the things that like you really need to work on. And like this is one like the organization like USMLE Sarthi came in really handy. So she went through all my list of like volunteer list and my work experience list, and like she gave me good tips on like how to prioritize and make my weakness as my strength. Like that's what I wanna like advise anybody that like even if you have year of graduation gap, some of the program did ask me like you have like long year of graduation, and I told them like you would tell me that I'm an old graduate, but I do not consider as myself as a gap because it was not a gap. Like I was practicing in medicine. Like I'm a clinician and I do not have a gap. Yes, I graduated 10 years ago, but it's not my weakness. I've been practicing all these years and I took up every opportunity I could get. So like that's the few tips that like I want to give to these people. And in interview as well, be as genuine as possible, because most of my interview I did pretty okay, and I was invited for second looks because I was honest with them. Like I took 4 mock interview with the USMLE Sati, and they really trained me as in for example, the background. This is not where my interview took place. Like it's a different setting where the background is. That's what like all these mock interviewer advised me, that like the background needs to be like a clear, like not doors and stuff. Like so it has to be every little details they would advise you and train you in. That really helped me because like you're like impressing them. You only get to meet them about 30 minutes or so with every interviewer. Like so every minute's count, and like everything. Like so they would like USMLE Sati would tell me what to wear, like as in like they would advise you like this is the dress, the clothes. USMLE Sati group like advise all these little details for the interview, and that really helped. And like all of my interview asked me to come in for a second look, and I went to all of them because when you go into second look, like they really get to know you more than the 30 minutes of virtual session. So I invested in that and I went to all of the interviews. So these are the few tips that I want to give to people.
No, absolutely wonderful. I mean, matching as an old YOG with an attempt in step 1 is fantastic. And you're right. Each and every small detail matters, whether it is, the designation you put in your ERA CV for the work you're doing, or the dress, or the interview, the background, the audio, video. Each and everything matters. And this is something we all want to stress to whosoever is listening. The journey has a process. Everything matters. It is not just filling up paperwork. I think a lot of us are under the impression, if I do 3 rotations, if I fill the ERA CV, if I fill the personal statement, if I apply to 200 programs, I will match. It is not that easy, right?
Yeah, the application work as a whole, like, it's made up with your clinical experience, research if you have some, and like how you carry yourself. That's what it matters. And like, every step, if you pay attention to details to every step and follow advices from people who has done this, it will really help you, because it's not just filling up paperwork. Like all these people, the journalist review will give me like some because I also use platinum package, so like they check my personal statement and they will give me advice like these are the kind of words that you shouldn't use in your personal statement, and these are the words that is that like how you want to say it, kind of thing. And it really helped me like in my personal statement as well, and I really appreciate that. Like, and also the application, like you said, like the geographical location selection, every little detail, like the title of your like whatever job you did or whatever volunteering activities that you did, you can ask them anytime and they will come back to you with all these advices. And like so the application really work as a whole, like like you need to work in every aspect in your journey.
Yeah. Last question before I let you go, Lynn, is how did you, because this came up in the chat, how did you balance USCE and into specialties, FM and IM? How did you balance it out?
So I did apply to half and half. So I applied to about 200 internal medicine programs, and I applied to about 200 family medicine program. And for all my medicine program that I applied to, I do not apply to family medicine so that it doesn't overlap each other. So I separated that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Lynn. Appreciate your time and congratulations on overcoming all these obstacles as a older YOG. So thank you for your motivations to others, and I'll see you in one of the next webinars.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. All right. Now I will take questions. I think, there are a lot of questions that I see here. And reminder, we will meet again tomorrow at the same time with other speakers. There are a lot of speakers. So also log in tomorrow, same time, same link. But let me take some questions, build on something that Lynn and others have mentioned. So first, just in case you're wondering on this, what do we do in the residency match plan and all that? So if you go to our website and click on this residency match here on the top, you will see, I'm sorry, let me go to this residency match and you will be able to see. So we do have, the group, there is one-on-one guidance. There is, if you are in platinum, there is a mentor that is assigned. There are classes, something that we haven't spoken about. All classes are live. They are recorded, and they're not on YouTube. So these are separate. Obviously, your PS and CV is reviewed by a physician, by a journalist. So there is a whole cycle to it. There is a program list. There is, our chat group, mock interviews, Sarthi community. This is a closed Telegram group. Where we answer each and every question. So take a look at how we do the match plans and all of that. So that's something I did want to showcase. Go to this blog site and the student resources. You will find a lot of useful information. And like this match week discounts, we are offering a lot of discounts for this week. So take a look on match week discounts. As you can see, there are discounts on match plans, rotations, research. So if you go there, you will be able to see that. Research, we already spoke about. And finally, like those of you who are in India, we are hosting another series of free sessions that you will meet our match students face to face. So those match students who are in India, we'll be meeting them in at least 5 locations: Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Amritsar, Delhi. So it is completely free to you. We are not charging anything. We don't charge anything for these things. So take a look at that. Here's the scanner code. You can scan it. And, I'll see you there in India as well. With that, let me just take some more questions. Does MPH from Johns Hopkins have any positive impact on CV? Absolutely. I mean, MPH is a US master's degree. It will have an impact. Hopkins is one of the top institutes. But the question is, how do you use it? How do you align it with your application, say in FM or other specialties? Do you get an LOR? Do you do projects in MPH? Which are clinical. So absolutely, it has an impact. It has a positive impact. You just need to know how to align it. And that's something that, our team does it regularly. Is knowing language, Spanish and French helpful in the USMLE journey? So obviously, languages like Spanish, because we have a lot of Spanish-speaking patient population in states like Florida, Arizona, and other states, even New York, New Jersey, it helps. But remember, you may be competing with other Spanish-speaking applicants who have it as a mother tongue. But yes, it absolutely helps. Does meta-analysis have more value than other research? I think it depends. I think meta-analysis is useful. We do quite a bit of it. Look at our research. But yes, it is absolutely fantastic, and especially if you use your biostatistical skills. How is being out of US affecting the matching? I don't think it affects. Interviews were all virtual, or 90% were virtual. Our students took interviews from all over the world. It did not impact, but of course, try to come to US to do your USCE, obviously, and step 3 if you need. Is orthopedic surgery difficult to get? Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. One of the most difficult specialties for even American graduates. So if you have a profile, I'm happy to look at it, but very, very few IMGs have matched in orthopedics, dermatology, and all of that. Please explain why we cannot apply to IM and FM residency in the same hospital. I didn't say you cannot apply to it. You can apply to it. Most of it, it depends on your profile. You can apply to IM and FM in the same hospital. The coordinators are different. Maybe there was some other context that we had this discussion. Does home country radiology residency help in radiology matching? Great question. If you have home country radiology residency, which a lot of our applicants also have, there is something called alternate pathway. You can do fellowships and be board certified. Get in touch with us. We can help you do the alternate pathway or do the residency in radiology. Okay. Hands-on experience versus observership matter for psychiatry. Absolutely. Psychiatry. So hands-on means patient interaction, family interaction, patient counseling, a lot of those things which psychiatry really prides on. And we have several rotations that you can do and do this, so psychiatry is becoming very competitive, as you know. What about radiology residency? So I don't know what the question is, but yes, they really, really look at either very recent graduates, high scores with radiology, USCE, or home country residency in radiology. Now, a lot of my students have done transitional year, 1-year residency, then went on to radiology. So that also helps, okay? What about cardiology? Cardiology is a subspecialty of IM. Most of you will have to go through IM residency to get into cardiology. Okay. Do we need a US telephone number in the match season? You absolutely need it, especially during the SOAP. Yes, you need a US number. So yes, so you need a US number. I think I answered all the questions. Let me take a couple of more, then we'll reconvene tomorrow. Do step 1 scores count? Most of the students now have pass fail, but yes, unfortunately or fortunately, if you have a 250 in step 1, that really adds. If you just passed with a low score, maybe it's okay. Does home country pathology residency help in matching? Yes, it will absolutely help you in pathology. I answered this question about MPH from Hopkins. So, go back to my answer. We are recording this anyway. What specialties go through alternate pathway? Radiology is one of our students matched in heart failure fellowship after cardiology. So there are several. You can get direct fellowships even in internal medicine like geriatrics and all that, but you will have to do residency after geriatrics, ID, and nephrology. Recommendations on research, home versus US. We always recommend US-based research. How to organize rotations for FM and IM in 4 months. So Marina can send you a link. Marina send a link to our rotations. We can work with you to organize all of that in 4 months if you need that. With that, I think we are coming to an end. So again, if you are in India, we'll see you in May. There are discounts this week on our rotations and research and match. Shoot us any questions that you have. You have my direct WhatsApp phone number. Don't call me. Send me a text. I will reply. And, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, and bring all your questions, and we'll talk tomorrow. Okay. And I'll keep the screen open for some time so that you can grab all the links. But thank you all for joining today. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that video provided valuable insights for your journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And check out our website for details on how we can guide you to a successful match.